Hello and good morning everybody. Welcome to the Gold and Silver Club end of week review. Great to see lots of familiar faces on the call this morning. Okay, so we're going to be looking at this morning, guys. We will be reviewing the latest developments in the commodities markets and commodity currencies. We're going to look at last week's performance, trade setups today and for the week ahead. There's quite a lot going on at the moment to review, so definitely a great time to be having a look at these markets. We're going to look at gold, silver, oil and commodity currencies. We are also going to look at the top trades of the week, including actually a trade, nice trade we took just last night and are in good profit this morning. Live market commentary and technical analysis, the week ahead, key events looking forward, and of course your questions and answers. There is a little chat function at the bottom there in the Q&A, guys, so any questions you have, we do like to make it nice and interactive. Please do go ahead and ask those. Okay, so I'm Phil Carr. I'm a professional trader, trainer and speaker. I'm the co-founder of and director of the Gold and Silver Club. I specialise in teaching people how to make money from trading the biggest financial markets in the world, Forex, gold, silver and oil. I've trained hundreds of individuals to become independent traders and successfully manage their own investment portfolio. I'm responsible for the research and development of the Gold and Silver Club trademark strategies that have a proven track record of generating returns for traders, and I'm the regular contributor to a number of financial publications and speak at numerous trading seminars and workshops. And also joining me on the call is Nick Kalsi, also professional trader, investment analyst and speaker. Nick began his career within private wealth management in 2002 before making the transition into proprietary trading. He also co-founded the Gold and Silver Club with myself. Prior to that, he spent over 5 years coaching professional fund managers and traders internationally for some of the world's top-tier hedge funds and investment banks. And it's through Nick's first-hand relationships with some of the world's most successful traders that he has discovered the formula, mindset and tools that give any individual the edge to make money in any economy, and also regularly writes for a number of global business and financial publications and appears frequently on television. That's a little bit about myself and Nick. Actually, you can see some of the latest publications we've been in recently. That's just International Life magazine, a publication we did on gold and silver, the South African recently, and the Arabian. And we were on Dukascopy TV just a couple of weeks ago giving our views on gold and silver for Q4 over the next 3 months, our predictions. Okay, so that's a little bit about us. So we're going to kick it off. We're going to look at the gold price first of all, guys. We've had some interesting moves last night and this morning actually, and certainly since the EU summit on Thursday and Friday. So if you guys would just like to take a quick look at the price of gold and let me know what the price is at the moment, if you've got access to your trading screens at the moment. If you just want to pop that into the Q&A, what the price is right now, or what you think the price is. If perhaps it's your first time on one of these webinars, we just want to gauge what the price is at the moment. Bang on, guys. Okay, fantastic. So, okay, great. Got a sharp audience this morning. So it is, in fact, yeah, it's $1,725 an ounce. That's great stuff, guys. You're all bang on. Fantastic. And we'll show you what the markets have been doing, certainly over since last night and since the end of last week. Okay, so first of all, I just want to quickly touch upon the commodity pairs because we will be covering this today, and some of you may think, well, I thought this was a webinar about gold, silver and oil. Why are you looking at Forex? Well, essentially we have three also commodity pairs that are associated with the commodities gold, silver and crude oil, and these sometimes present even better trade setups than you may get on gold, silver or oil. So these three are Australian dollar, US dollar, US dollar, Canadian dollar and New Zealand dollar, US dollar. And the reason they're closely related to commodities is because they're massive exporters of commodities, especially Canadian is linked to crude oil, more on Australian US dollar, and New Zealand US dollar are linked more to gold. So I'll show you this in charts this morning, but essentially when gold rallies, you often see New Zealand dollar USD on Australian dollar USD doing exactly the same, and in the inverse of that, USD Canadian dollar moves in the opposite direction. So when gold is going up, you often see USD Canadian dollar going down, and if USD Canadian dollar is going up, you will see gold going down. And sometimes, last week we actually had two nice setups on USD Canadian dollar, which were actually they were presented more lucrative opportunities than were on gold and silver. So we'll talk you through those today. Okay, so actually we'll talk you through those right now. So we're just going to go over the top trades of the week, including trades we had even last night as well. So this is in the last week. So we're going to look at, here we had, and we like to talk about risk and reward. We're going to be talking, these are about price action trades. We have 5 core strategies that we use to trade the markets. Today we're going to be focusing on price action. So here we're looking at, this was a trade on gold that we took last week. And here you can see the price actually came down, retested a Fibonacci level of 1,728 per ounce. And you can see there where we actually, we touched that with pretty much pinpoint accuracy. We bounced off that level. It was a very clear bounce, and then we rallied to the upside. We were initially targeting $1,768 per ounce. However, a previous area of support we were looking at, which had now become resistance, was 1750. The price, by the time it got to Wednesday, the markets were starting to react a little bit to the upcoming EU summit on Thursday and on Friday. It was time to get out of the trade. So we took a risk, because we're trading on the cents here, the way we trade in lots, and we trade using, this example is our pari. We are looking in terms of the risk that we took was on the cents, so we had 50 pips risk on that. So if you're trading at one lot, you can trade obviously much more than that. It's just an example of just one lot here. If you're trading that for $500 risk, we made 229 pips on the trade. So it was a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio, and you can see that quite clearly on the chart where we got out of there for 2,290 profit. So that was a trade on gold just last week. We wanted to show you New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, just purely because the price action on this was fantastic. We had several bounces previously off this level of support. So this is a market we were looking at. It was 63.78 entry. You can see where the price has come down in that blue highlighted area. It's tested the support level. It rallied from there previously on 1, 2, 3 occasions, and then we looked to enter that 63.78. We got out. We could have rallied. We could have taken more out of that trade, but we were happy with the 4.5 to 1 risk to reward, which essentially meant we risked 17 pips on the trade to make 76 pips. So if you equate that to lots, it was 170 pounds to make 760 profit. And you can see there in the blue highlighted area to the upside, that's where we that's the trade there, which actually took about just over 24 hours for us to reach our profit target. Here we have USD Canadian dollar, and this is what we were talking, or I was talking about earlier, where we actually had, in the earlier part of last week, gold and silver, they rallied on Monday and Tuesday, and whilst they rallied from support of 1628, and whilst they were doing this, USD Canadian dollar actually came up, tested a resistance level at 0.9850. You can see highlighted in blue, very tight risk on that, just 10 pips risk. The price reversed from that level where we entered, and you can see where it's come down. It's got to our profit target. You can see highlighted in blue there. So we came down to 0.9767, 83 pips we made in profit from the trade. Very tight stop required on that. So from 100, if you traded that even at a minimum of one lot there, obviously you can go much larger than that. £100 risk to make 830. For 83 pips and that 8-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And what we love about USD Canadian dollar is that we then were able to take the reverse position on that. So then gold and silver, they hit $1,750 per ounce. They then couldn't get past that, started to reverse. As they started to reverse, USD Canadian dollar hit a support level at 9767. You can see there highlighted in blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've had about 6 bounces off that level. It was worth it for the risk of 12 pips on that trade. We managed to bank a reward of 89 pips on that. So you can see a nice, again, 8-to-1 risk to reward. So from trading at one lots, £120 risk in order to make 800, and it's put in dollars there, but you can do that. It's whatever currency you want. You can put it in euros, pounds, dollars. We trade in pounds, but for this example, we just converted that to dollars. But it was £120 risk for 890 profit, and we reached that within 24 hours. And here, this is just a trade-off last night. I know we've got some of our traders on the call at the moment, so great to see lots of you on the call today. And you'll see that we actually posted a trade setup we were looking at last night. This was for pound dollar. So pound dollar was actually coming up. It was testing a Fibonacci level of 1.5991 right on the open last night. So 10 o'clock last night when the markets opened, actually came down. It was sitting right on this level. So this is one we were looking at very closely. It bounced off that level. So we didn't break through it. The risk on that, we wanted, you look on the left part of that chart, we wanted to be underneath the recent lows, the recent supportive candlesticks. So we had a 16 pip risk on that. And should say reward of 56 pips there. So at the moment, we're 56 pips up on this particular trade. You can see where we've got to our first profit target. We are interested to see if we're going to break through that level of 50, where we've got a profit target. At the moment, we've secured a 3.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio on that. So again, looking at lots, it was £160 to risk for £560 profit so far. And there you can see lovely trade setup there. It's just throughout the Asian market, the price has just bounced off that Fibonacci level, and we are currently right at our first profit target. Ideally, we'd love to be able to ride that higher to the next profit target up there, but we have moved up our stop loss now to secure at least 3 to 1 risk to reward. And we'll talk through that trade this morning as well. So that's a trade that was just we're currently in at the moment, that was just taken last night on pound dollar. So as I say, guys, we do trade 5 core strategies. This is one we're covering at the moment. So this is more price action trading we're going to be talking through. And we're going to start looking at some live market analysis now. So we're going to switch over to my screen. Okay, so here on my screen at the moment, we've got, we're just going to look at silver. We're going to also talk about upcoming news later on this week. There's a lot of news. There's not so much news coming out today, but certainly Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, there's a lot of news to take into account. So very interesting on silver. This is a level that we actually talked about on webinar last week that we were looking at. So silver, we weren't interested in trading last week, although it had gotten below 32. We still weren't interested in trading it because we saw this Fibonacci level below it. So what you typically find is once one of these levels is broken, it's almost like a magnet with price action with these Fibonacci levels. The price, even though here you may have thought, okay, there's a supported level of 32.50, let me get in, we were very aware that the next Fibonacci level down was 31.66. And you can see a lot of institutions and traders are looking at this within the silver market because we've bounced off this level with pinpoint accuracy this morning, 31.66. How's that for accuracy? We've just literally bounced off that level. Since that entry point, you actually would be up 70 points on that trade at the moment. Fortunately, it occurred if you're a bit of a night owl, or some of you on the call I know are from Asia at the moment, so you may have caught that trade. It was a little bit late for us because I think it occurred at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for us trading across in the UK. You can see here where the price has come down. So essentially what happened, once it broke through 33, we weren't interested in taking this trade in a long position because we can see that the price, this is what happened. And we've come down to test that 31.66. It's been supportive at the moment. So at the moment we are getting a little bit of a bounce off silver at the moment. So obviously we're interested now on silver to see whether we are now going to get a retesting of 33.11 up to this level here, which is previous support, and whether we can get a bit of a recovery now on silver, or whether we are now going to, I mean, if you'd been in that trade earlier on, some of you in Asia may have been in that trade, you've already got some decent profits on that trade. But if it does come down and retest and break this Fibonacci level, which is at 31.66, there's not really going to be a lot of support until now we get down to 30. So if it does break that, there's not a lot of support now until it gets to 30.41. But obviously we've held that support level at the moment. It's bouncing back right now. If you come into the trade now, you're a bit late to this trade. It's already made the move, so I would wait to see if it's going to come down and retest 31.76. Not a recommendation, we're just looking at price action, but we personally are looking for it to come back down to 31.66 if we were going to take a long position on silver at the moment, or we would like to see it break 33.11, this price action level here. So that's what we're looking at in silver at the moment, and we're going to move across to, this is pound dollar. So here we talked about earlier, and you can see here we were actually we were watching, we actually posted this during the day yesterday. Some of our traders are actually on the call today, so I know some of you took advantage of this call, this trading opportunity. So here you can see price came down to 1.5905. Look at that for support. We've actually bounced off that level with pinpoint accuracy, so we know we've got the right level there. A lot of traders also watching this level. We had some previous support here, so we obviously wanted our this is the level of support here that we were looking at for this trade. You can see where we bounced off that level, and this is where we are currently. We're still in this trade at the moment. As I say, we've secured some profits. We want to now, so you can see it's breaking up from this Fibonacci level. So first, this is what we've essentially, this is the trade we've got so far. Now we are interested to see, because we had quite a move down on the pound dollar last week. We had a big move on Friday afternoon. We actually sold off late afternoon. There's a lot of news coming out, the EU summit still, and we just had a big sell-off in pound dollar in the afternoon. So now very interested to see if we can get all the way up to this next level of resistance here, this Fibonacci level here. We can see at the moment we are breaking through 1.60492 ever so slightly. We're still in this trade at the moment. Obviously, if we only took 16-point risk on this trade. So if we can ride this all the way through, this will certainly be on our trade of the week later on this week, because there's a potentially 180 points on that trade from my entry. That's a lot to ask from this trade, but we certainly secured at least a 3-to-1 risk to reward at the moment, and hopefully you can see the pinpoint accuracy of where we got into that trade, so you can see why we use price action and how powerful it is for the markets that we're following. Here we're going to look at crude oil. Crude oil at the moment, it's sort of in no man's land. We're currently looking at it, it's $110 per ounce. We've had several very nice trades of crude oil when it has come down and tested this 108, this supported level here. It has tended to, there was one occasion where it just bounced off it with pinpoint accuracy. Other times it's tended to go through that level by about 100 points before it actually reverses again. But we are looking at this this level of support. If it does come down again, we'll be interested and have alerts set up and just see what the price action does. If it comes down to about 108.43 per barrel, at the moment there's not really a trade on. You can see there's not much in terms of support to where we are at the moment, and the risk to reward isn't really there. So we're either interested in it coming down to support level or coming up to the upside here, back to test 112.24 or 113.13, and we'd be keeping a close eye on news as well, news related. We've got various news feeds that we use to get information on oil. Okay, so now we're going to turn our attention to gold. So gold, very interesting. So we did break through a level of support yesterday. This was during the Asian session. You can see here where we came down. We've got a lot of questions on gold at the moment, actually, from a lot of people getting in touch with us to find out what they're what to expect next from gold. So essentially here, what we've actually broken through a level of support here, 1,721. We can see what we want to take into account is what the other markets are doing as well. So as you can see here, so silver came down, tested a Fibonacci level. Silver is bouncing off that at the moment. It's recovering. Gold, it did break through 1721 and 1727 levels of support at Fibonacci level, but it didn't get down to 1700. It actually bounced off 1712 in the early hours. We would like to see, in order to start looking at this to get into a long position, we want to see it get back above 1727. Again, not a recommendation. This is just, we're looking at price action. We do want to see, obviously, what you don't want to do is get into this trade too early, and now 1727 has become resistance. So what you could see is that the price just comes up test this 1727 level. More traders are using that to go short, and then you see it come up, test this level, and then it starts going back down again. We've got a lot of news coming out this week, which we're going to discuss. So just after we go through this live market analysis, so this could be the potential for it to come up and retest it and come back down again, or if we do break out from this level here, 1727, we may see just it come back to test that 1750 level again, like so, and it could come up. It will be very news dependent. To be honest, gold market is going to be very news driven this week. Where the price is right now, it's not. It's still between that 1721 to 1727. So I think there are better trade setups at the moment. Obviously, you've seen we're in cable currently, and we're looking at some. There are more interesting trade setups, but we're keeping a very close eye on gold right now to see what it's going to do, see if it's going to bounce off 1727 and reverse, or if it's going to break out to the upside there. So now we're going to turn our eye to commodity currencies. So we are going to look, okay, here we go. So this is interesting. So we actually posted this for some of our traders this morning. Again, none of these are recommendations. We're just looking at price action. So we were looking at this level of resistance. So what we could see, deduce gold and silver were rallying up this morning. USD Canadian dollar moves the inverse direction. So if you continue to see gold and silver rally, we would expect USD Canadian dollar to come down. You can see here where we have an area of resistance here. We've come up to this Fibonacci level. The price is starting to, at the moment anyway, turn around, and you can see here where essentially the price where it's come up to test this resistance is where the same price that silver hit a supportive level of 31, more or less 66, and gold also hit about 1712, and now it's reversing. Gold and silver rallying, USD Canadian dollar is reversing. So will we see a move now to the downside? We'll keep a close eye on this. Will we see a move to the downside, or will we see it come up again and gold and silver will reverse? So two scenarios that we're interested in at the moment there. If we go out a little bit further to a better time frame, yeah, you can see here actually where we've got quite a lot of resistance on USD Canadian dollar. So you can see all across here, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 bounces. We haven't broken above this level on USD Canadian dollar since August this year. So if we do break out to the upside, that will be the highest price we've reached for USD Canadian dollar in the last 2 months or so. So we do know this is an area of resistance at the moment. So we are keeping a close eye on that, guys. So this level of resistance on USD Canadian dollar. Okay. And we're going to just turn our eye to New Zealand US dollar. Again, not too much going. You can see where we've got the correlation there. So as gold and silver are going up as well, you can see that New Zealand US dollar are moving upwards as well. There's not really, as far as we can see, there's not much going on at the moment with New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Let's turn our attention to Australian US dollar. Okay, so in the same way that we've seen essentially gold and silver be supported throughout the Asian session, we can see we've had some support on Australian US dollar. Australian US dollar had a big move last week. We had one of the, I think it was on the 15th, so that was last Monday. We actually had about 180 point move to the upside. Then we've had some profit taking. The price has obviously started to come down. You can see where the price has come down, and now at the moment we seem to be supported around this sort of level here. Again, we've got, from the trades we've gone through today, there are more interesting setups at the moment, although I do like to keep an eye on Australian US dollar there. So you can see right now that we're getting a bit of resistance around this price action level. Pretty much similar to what we're getting in gold actually. So gold is currently getting resistance at 1727. Australian US dollar is getting resistance at that same level. So what we can deduce from that is if gold breaks out to the upside there, we would expect the similar move on Australian US dollar. If Australian US dollar and gold now reverse, it's going to be, I believe, very dependent on news coming out this week. We've got CFTC meetings, got European Central Bank doing announcements. We'll go on to that very shortly, but let me just show you. So if we do now encounter resistance, we could come back and see a retest of this level. It was 1.02942. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. So I can't see your questions right now, guys, as I show my screen. So as I move back to the presentation, then I'll probably be able to see any questions which have come through. So we'll start. That's the live market analysis, guys, and now we're going to just go on to the news next week. Okay, so we have got a couple of questions come through. So, Peter, great to see you on the call again. So Peter's just asking, what is the smallest time frame you would set a fib range on, please? The time frames that we're using on this, we're looking at a daily time frame where we are essentially setting these Fibonacci's from, but we're doing that from several different points of the market. Yeah, to answer your question there, it's a daily time frame, Peter, that we're looking at for those levels. Okay? Okay, so Okamo is asking how we place these Fibonacci levels. This is something, Okamo, we may be able to do a separate webinar on. We get a lot of questions about that. Actually, I'll tell you what, Okamo, we'll go through that at the end. You're welcome, Peter. We'll go through that at the end, guys, how to find out more information, how we actually draw all these Fibonacci levels, and how we work out exact price action. You can see ours are extremely accurate. Believe me, it's taken many years of analysis and so on to know exactly where to draw these levels. It's not something you can just draw unless you kind of not have a little bit more knowledge, but you'll get all the levels that we're using. Obviously, you can see the levels I've got there on this call, so you can make a note of those. But that's something we'll talk about, guys, and we'll cover at the end of this call how you can find out more information on that. Okay, so we're going to just quickly look at the week ahead now, guys. So today, not a lot of news coming out. We've got an FOMC meeting later today, but it's not Bernanke or FOMC minutes. It's not. It's one with a medium volatility on it. So that's at 6:30 p.m. tonight. Really, the major news that we're going to be looking at this week, which affects the markets that we trade. Okay, so we're going to look at. First of all, we're going to be looking at CAD interest rate decision. So that is tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. So if you are trading USD Canadian dollar, you want to pay attention to this tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. That's the Bank of Canada Council member come to a consensus on where to set the rate. So traders watch interest rate changes very closely. As short-term interest rates are the primary factor in currency valuation, a higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for USD Canadian dollar, whilst a lower than expected rating should be taken as bearish. So it's important because obviously USD Canadian dollar is inversely related to gold. Tuesday at 6 p.m. tomorrow we have the Governor King speak. So Bank of England is due to give a speech at South Wales Chamber of Commerce. So it could offer some insight behind the recent MPC interest rate decision and the monetary policy. So may influence the British pound traders. So for those also trading pound dollar, that could influence your trade tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We've also got on Wednesday, a lot of news coming out on Wednesday. We've got the German IFO Business Climate Index that measures expectations for the next 6 months. It's a composite index based on a survey of all manufacturers, builders, wholesalers, retailers. And if that's higher than expected reading, should be taken as bullish for the euro, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the euro. That's Wednesday at 9 o'clock. So you guys who've been on our previous webinars will probably know if the euro weakens, you can expect gold and silver prices to tumble. If the euro strengthens, you can expect gold and silver to potentially rally. We certainly saw that on Thursday and Friday with the EU summit. As the EU did move to the downside, we saw gold and silver follow suit, so quite correlated. Okay, so a whole host of other news coming out on Wednesday. So Mario Draghi speaks at 12:45 following last week's EU summit. That's resulted with no big headlines. So this speech, he might refer to the future monetary steps from the ECB and actions that should be taken to deal with the Eurozone debt crisis. So look out for that at Wednesday at 12:45. That will certainly affect the euro and inversely, and then gold and silver. Wednesday FOMC meeting. This is certainly one of the highest impact news for gold and silver over this week. 7:15 p.m. on Wednesday. They will talk about they're going to convene for the 7th time this year and decide at the end of the 2-day session on any changes in the monetary policy, interest rates. So in last month's meeting, the Fed announced QE3, which was huge. We saw massive moves on gold and silver due to that. So the FOMC statement may affect the US dollar and prices of precious metals. That's Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. Wednesday at 9 o'clock in the evening, for those of you who also trade New Zealand US dollar, we've got the interest rate decision. So a higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for New Zealand US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish. So it's important news because obviously New Zealand dollar is correlated to gold price. And finally, on Friday, we're looking at first US GDP Q3 2012 estimate. So this will be the first estimate of the US's third quarter 2012 real GDP growth. So in the recent estimate, the US GDP during the second quarter expanded by 1.7%. In Q1 2002, it reached 1.9%. So it will show a fall in the growth rate for US GDP. If there is a sharp shift in the growth rate from Q2 to Q3, it could not only affect the US dollar but also commodity prices as well. So again, Friday at 1:30 p.m. that's another market mover. So you can see there's quite a few announcements coming out today. So probably going to be fairly when I say straightforward, we're probably not going to be affected too much by news in trading today unless anything comes out which was not scheduled, but certainly Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday at 1:30 there's lots of news which can affect the market, so certainly lots to look out for. Okay, so really before we go to the end about how you can find out some more information, really just wanted to answer the question, why trading, why we trade, and why all our traders, the Gold and Silver Club, trade. One of the main reasons why we trade is that really the freedom trading gives you. So it enables you to do what you want, when you want, really where you want. Obviously trading is not location dependent, with whom you want, and as much as you want. As you know, you can trade as much or as little as you want depending on your strategies. It allows a lot of autonomy. You can trade different time zones, and you can do that wherever you want, at whatever offices you want. So to finish that up, guys, and to wrap it up, if you'd like, some of you had some questions there, how you find out more about the strategies that we trade. This is just one of 5 strategies that we look at. If you'd like to learn how to trade or get our free weekly newsletter, you simply go to our website, www.thegoldandsilverclub.com. There is a tab there, Learn to Trade, and that's where we can have a chat with you and talk you through strategies we use, certainly for price action, and talk you through the other strategies we're using. And we've got upcoming courses as well. We've got an online workshop on the 24th of December and also a London workshop on the 3rd of December. So if you'd like to find out more about that, please get in touch, office@thegoldandsilverclub.com, or telephone our office at 0207 193 0403. If you would simply like to get our free weekly newsletter every week with all the latest developments in the commodities markets, including invites to webinars and also similar information to what we've discussed today and invites to these webinars, you can do that as well. Okay, fantastic. Guys, I think that's probably it for today as we come towards an end, as we're just getting on past 11:30. It's been a great session today. As always, we look forward to speaking to you again. If there are any questions at all, please do send those through to office@thegoldandsilverclub.com. I believe this has been recorded, so you can watch this again on the FX Street webinar page. Also, there's a new function actually. We're now using the WebEx platform, so if you'd like to make sure you don't miss any of the Gold and Silver Club webinars, you just go to, there's a little green tab on the FX Street webinars where you can just go to follow this speaker, and then you'll be notified about all our upcoming webinars. So we had a slight change in that we did the normal Friday wrap up on Monday today, and you'll be kept updated with any changes. Okay, right, well thanks again guys, great webinar. We look forward to speaking to you next time. Good luck for this week's trading, and we'll speak to you at the end of the week. Okay, that's it from us guys, so have a great week and bye bye.